So here we are in bedroom number 2. So this is a 2-bedroom unit. So this space is not the master, obviously. It can be used for kids quite easily, but equally it can be used for just other guests that might stay here. So with this room, I was just really mindful of making it something that wasn't too slanted towards children's design, but still had an interesting feel to it and had a little bit of colour. So you can see that we've brought in some of the rusty reds behind me on the throw and some mint greens. So to bring a little bit of colour, but not to make it too crazy, because you want the whole space to feel like it connects well with each other. So if you can see behind me, a gallery wall, which is just absolutely stunning and one of the most impactful pieces, I think, in the whole unit. And so gallery walls are just so such a great way to use a blank wall really effectively. And what works well here is that this room is actually directly off of the main living, so when you're in the main living you can actually see this back wall and your eyes just automatically drawn to it, and you're like, oh, what's that? That's really interesting, I want to come in and see that. And that's what the gallery wall does. Now, what I want to point out as well is how affordable a gallery wall like this can be, is that these days you can get the frames from IKEA or Kmart, and they're perspex, and so that's obviously a safety thing as well. But the frames actually are quite inexpensive, sort of between $10 to $20 per frame, depending on the size. And the actual art itself is, I just wanted to really shout out to an amazing Australian photographer, Danny from Love Your Space. So look her up online. A great way of being able to choose your art online and have it delivered to your door, and then you can frame up the art yourself. So also here, just wanted to note just the cohesiveness, that the art is all black and white, and whilst it would be really tempting to go with the colour, especially with the pictures of the beach and things, you can sort of see that how quickly the room could look a bit busy and could make the room feel a bit cluttered and small if you'd used a lot of colour on the wall as well as a lot of colour on the bed. So it's almost like choose where you want to use the colour and keep that as your focus, and then have the other items in the room more complementary to that, which is why I just went with just all the black and white, and also just using the same frames as well, just to make it really cohesive. And then behind me, if I can get my selfie stick to work, just to show you the bedside. So obviously only one bedside fits comfortably in this space, but that's fine. We've got 2 beds from Fantastic Furniture. They're actually a beautiful ultramarine blue. I'm not sure if you can quite capture that in the video, but it's just bringing that little subtle use of colour without it being too over the top. And we use bedlinen from Adaire's and Big W, and the cushions from IKEA, the beautiful velvety rectangular shaped cushions from IKEA, which is lovely. And the bedside is also IKEA, just simple and classic and coastal. And then behind me on this wall, we've got a little floating shelf that you can use for magazines, or equally you could use for children's books, with a clock, and just thinking about the textures and just using the same texture. So I've just gone with the same timber texture here, just to keep it as simple as possible, so that the room feels as big and sort of calming as it can. And just behind me here, we've got some beautiful shears from IKEA. So originally the unit had the timber Venetians, which are still behind the shears, and they weren't something that we necessarily wanted to take down, because it's great for privacy and for shading and keeping the sun out. But to have the shears has really created this beautiful, soft, luxurious cocooning feel. So we've done that with all of the windows as well.